intentional, deliberate focus on inclusivity, youth, and gender equality.
According to the state, persons with disability are innovators, creators, professionals, and visionary leaders who enrich workplaces, inspire creativity, and strengthen communities. The government announced that Lagos will soon introduce the Lagos Disability Inclusion Compact, a comprehensive framework to expand inclusive education, improve transportation support, enhance digital accessibility, deepen economy empowerment, and reinforce LASODA's regulatory power. The state commended on its agency for swift action in addressing recent discrimination incidents, insisting that accessibility must become a natural part of every system. As Lagos marks the 2025 International Day of Persons with Disability, the call is for every resident to recommit to dignity, justice, and empathy. And people build a strong society where ability is defined not mobility, vision, or hearing, but by courage, creativity, and potential. I am Onyeka Ogolo, reporting for VOP TV.
Whether you've been with us through the ups and downs or just joined us for this festive season,
take a moment to cherish the moments you've made and look forward to making new ones on the horizon.
May this new year bring you everything good, everything prosperous.
As we bid farewell to the old year and welcome you to the new year,
may your heart be filled with joy and your home with laughter. And of course, may your spirit be filled with hope.
We'll be bringing you live updates, exciting performance, and inspiring stories throughout the day.
stay tuned for our special New Year's coverage and let's make this year unforgettable.
Thank you for making us a part of your celebration.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. But for us, the technical crew,
it's weird for technical people to be in front of camera, but I just want to say,
now this one they make me come outside every day. Anytime when they call me, I will rush come outside. We don't get holiday.
Our holiday is part of our daily routine and we've embraced it.
I must say the work is challenging, engaging, and interesting.
We are all families here at VOP and with the technical crew.
For us, it's another day on the job.
But it's tough being away from family.
But the latter part of it is that after the work,
we stay connected with video calls and messages. Merry Christmas.
On behalf of the technical crew, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, and here we are, job continues.
It's a season of love, a season of joy, a season to celebrate you because you deserve it. From all of us at Voice of the People TV, we only want to wish you a very merry, happy Christmas and a prosperous new year ahead.
We are here with the leadership of VOP Television Lagos. We do appreciate this opportunity to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to our viewers all over the world and admirers. Cheers.
Ẹ̀yin tèmi ní Nàìjíríà lókè òkun, mo ń kí yín fún Kérésìmesì ọdún yìí á yabo fún wa o. Gbogbo wa la rí bá ti ṣe táàárọ̀ náà gbégbá o. I wish my fans all over the world, in Europe, America, Australia, everywhere, a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. Catch ya next year.
As the year comes to an end, we want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for your hard work, dedication, and the positive vibe you bring to Voice of the People every day. From all of us on the HR, we would like to say Merry Christmas, a happy, prosperous, and healthy New Year. Thank you.
This is to wish you a wonderful, spirit-filled, and Merry Christmas from Matthew Ugunswada.
This year has been so amazing with you in it. And that's why we're saying from Voice of the People TV, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And we love you.
You've been wonderful all through the year. And this is from us, Voice of the People Television, saying Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year to you all. See you at the top.
What happens in the hush behind hangar doors? Who signs the papers that gamble with lives? Which truths were grounded before they even ever had wings? If you've ever buckled a seatbelt at 30,000 feet, if you've ever stared out of that tiny window and wondered who's really in control of the skies, it isn't just flight, it's power, it's politics, it's pressure sealed in steel. We're peeling back the clouds from runway risks to sky-high secrets. We're diving deep where most dare not to look. Aviation Scope, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on Voice of the People TV. We don't just report, we reveal. We don't just ask, we uncover. Because when it comes to the skies, ignorance is turbulence. Aviation Scope, the sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning.
This is African News on Voice of the People Television, where we don't just bring you the news, we bring you Africa's heartbeats, the policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future. African News on Voice of the People Television. Stay with us.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOPTV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOPTV, Voice of the People Television.
VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Well, good morning and welcome to another day. A beautiful day it is, and we are grateful to be here. It is the 31st day in December 2025, the very last day of the year 2025. And yes, like I said, I am grateful to be here, and I know that you are too, because it's been a journey. 364, now the 365th day. Or is it a leap year? No, it's not. So 365 days coming to an end, and then the beginning of another calendar year to start in a few hours. And we say, thank God. Thank God we're here. Now, for those that we have lost, we can only pray that their souls will find rest. And those that lost loved ones, we can only condole with them and hope that they get the strength to move on, the strength to make their loved ones, their lost loved ones, proud. I am Moses Humphrey. And of course, let's take you into the conversation this morning. A look at major events that took place in Nigeria in 2025. We'll be x-raying some of these events and how they have impacted and imparted our lives. Now, we'll also, go a little into what the federal government is saying. The federal government denies claims of secret task force targeting opposition. But also do know that 2026, basically, campaigns go into full swing. All right. Now we know that we've had campaigns up from 2023 anyway, but it's going to full swing in 2026, leading up to elections in 2027. So these are, how we'll navigate the show today. First, we'll look at events that took place in 2025, and then x-ray what the APC is saying, that we're not targeting opposition. We're not targeting opposition. We haven't set up a secret task force. Well, if they have, we'll find out on the show. Come along with us.
Yes, come along with us. Good morning and thanks for joining us. Yes, we are grateful for being here at this moment. Today is the 31st day of December 2026, and we thank God for His mercies in our lives. We thank God for protection. We thank God for provision. We also thank God for 2026, because 2026, not 2025, I mean 2026 ended well. Oh, well, those are...
So you're speaking into the future.
Yes, into the
That's
future.
Good.
2026 ended well.
That's good. I like that.
Beautiful.
Like
You are
that.
teaching me. Now, those are the major topics of discussion, but there are also other interesting trending stories that we want to weigh in on before we get into those topics. Political activists identify your young brother to commodity has alleged that Bola Tinubu-led federal government continues to pay salaries to about 2,000 workers at the Ajaokuta Steel Company, despite the facility being inactive for decades. Well, in a viral video circulating on social media, Isaac Fayose claimed that an estimated 6 billion naira is spent annually on salaries at the steel complex, which he described as abandoned and non-functional. According to him, the continued payment of salaries at Ajaokuta presents a massive drain on public funds that could have been invested in critical sectors, such as healthcare and education. Well, he argued that when the annual figure is multiplied over the years, it helps explain the poor state of public hospitals and other social infrastructure across the country. He also spoke about previous efforts by the federal government to revive the steel company through a memorandum of understanding with the Russian firm Novostar in partnership with Proforce. Fayose alleged that the deal collapsed after Nigerian officials reportedly demanded a 30% stake in the company, a condition he said the Russian firm rejected, insisting on a government-to-government arrangement. Fayose further claimed that following the Russians' withdrawal, the government is now seeking a fresh MOU with Chinese partners to resuscitate the long-dormant steel mill. We also expressed doubt over the success of such plans, warning that without transparency and accountability, Ajaokuta Steel may remain a symbol of waste and mismanagement in Nigeria's industrial sector. Well, what Isaac Fayose had said is what a lot of Nigerians know. But the payment of 2,000 payments made to 2,000 people, I think a lot of people will not know that. And according to him, it amounts to about 6 billion naira annually. And that's a lot of money. Ajaokuta has always been a colossal waste to the Nigerian government. And I keep asking myself, now the steel complex should have been, the structure for that to leapfrog Nigeria into industrial development. How we abandoned it for years still beats me. And I don't understand why subsequent governments, no government has made any desperate effort to revive it. If you can't do it alone, bring in foreign partners. And we understand that some foreign partners came first. Russian firm. By the way, this steel complex originally had a Russian background and all of that. I think it was conceived by a Russian company, conceived in the sense that they started the superstructure, and all of that. It didn't work. And as usual, government officials will start asking for kickbacks, this percentage, partnership, we want to be part of it and all of that. And that lack of due diligence, corporate governance, has led a lot of companies to exit Nigeria at some point. And the steel structure, and look at, when we talk about steel, look at what Brazil is doing with steel, look at what Russia is doing with steel. And Nigeria, the supposed giant of Africa, we are unable to. It's not as if the raw materials are not there. The materials are there in large quantity, but why can't we use it to, kickstart the kind of industrial revolution that should have, rubbed off, multiply effect, not just in Nigeria, but the West African coast, the whole of Africa and all of that. And I keep asking, why is it that governments keep deprioritizing Nigeria? We are building expressways, highways, coastal highways. I'm not trying to diminish the value of those highways, but how about the thing that should have been the basic foundation of industrialization? Every day we keep talking about consumption. Every government that comes. I started hearing about diversified economy in my secondary school. Up until this moment, close to 45 years now, we've not been able to diversify this economy. What is the problem? What is the color of our problem? Maybe Moses can help me answer that question, the color of our problem. You can't.
It leaves me, I'm completely confused as to why we have the kind of problems, the kind of issues we have in Nigeria. We really don't have problems. I was just thinking about it on my way to work. I was listening to some radio station and I said, look, we don't have problems in Nigeria. We've only succeeded in creating problems for ourselves. When you look at the insurgency that we're dealing with, and then in recent times after the US involvement, we've seen these terrorists running around. We're hearing that some are captured here or there, 38 here, the DHQ saying they're monitoring. I'm like, Nigerian Air Force has, bombed some terrorist sites as well. I'm like, it's really this easy to solve the issue of insecurity.
Very easy.
It is this easy.
At some point, we tried to solve it on our own. And it was the Nigerians that pushed back.
Yes. Exactly my point here. It is this easy. One bomb, a few bombs here and there, they scatter, you track them down, you neutralize them, and that is it. And that will deter anyone else that wants to go into it. All right? But Nigerians pushed back. When someone tried to do it the first time, Ihejurika and the likes tried to do it the first time, people pushed back. The same issue with Ajaokuta Steel, corruption, paying salaries of people who are basically not doing anything, basically stealing the money, because who would you say actually work there? What are they doing? All right? So it's just people, and then Nigerian government going into partnership with a foreign government, and people are pushing back. People are insisting on how it benefits them. We don't have a pan-Nigerian. I'll say maybe after Zeke, maybe after Pawolowo. Can we say we have a pan-Nigerian after that? Every other person. Anyway.
We're pockets of them here and there.
Pockets of them. A few of those that have found themselves deep in the corridors of power have all cared more about themselves, what they stand to gain, what benefits them, what profits them. And then you're reaching a deal with a company for something that will benefit Nigeria, but then you're looking at, okay, yes, it will benefit Nigeria, but what's in it for me? Come on. If the country is better, Nigerians will not be running abroad. I was having a conversation with someone the other day, yesterday actually, and we were talking about the rise, the prevalence of infertility. All right, and the person is a doctor. They're talking about how contraceptives, condoms, and all these things that have been introduced have chemicals that alter the hormones of our people and make egg production difficult and some of this, and then we are having high cases of infertility in Nigeria. Now you have young people getting married. I mean, by young people, I mean people getting married, 23-year-olds marrying 27-year-olds, and they have infertility issues. And
you begin to wonder what happened.
What happened? You have children in, I mean, our problems are layered.
So apparently, these contraceptives are adulterated.
Well,
and the side effects,
they have side effects
of the adulterate.
Yes, and the side effects basically is to reduce population in the African, in the continent of Africa, reduce population. So we have just found a way to create problems for ourselves where there really shouldn't be a problem. That's the story of Nigeria. That's the story of Africa.
And it's a very sad story.
It is a sad one, indeed. But, well, it's unfortunate that, people are more concerned about enriching themselves. Yes, it's the federal government paying workers in Ajaokuta still now. We know they are always catching ghost workers in companies, when they come to do audits, and then you realize that, some people that haven't been in the company for years are still being paid. But if you look closely, those monies are not even going to the accounts of these individuals. They're going into the accounts of a separate individual. I said it here on this table, how government, in a particular government, gave money to a local government to pay workers, to pay people stipends for a period of time. I think the money was supposed to be 150,000 naira for 6 months to those that work, to the beneficiaries in a particular local government in Lagos. Unfortunately, the aid to the chairman, the local government chairman, took about 60 slots out of about 2,000 plus. He took 60 slots. So basically, 150,000 naira for 60 people
was going to his pocket.
Was going to one person's pocket.
Nigeria.
One person's pocket for the period of 6 months. But the money had been disbursed. It's greed. Alarming level of greed.
No, that is what we call primitive acquisition. And you recall that when someone once said that, look, if they are ghost workers, what it technically means is that they are jobs. Because those people also have job responsibilities. And when you talk about a certain individual...
Who's got the jobs?
No, because those jobs, they have descriptions. And so people get paid for it, despite the fact that they are not available.
You also know that in most government establishments, people go to work and paid for doing nothing.
And are paid for doing nothing. And so the deliverables are lacking, So they don't do any job. When you talk about a certain individual cornering 60 of 2,000, Moses, have you forgotten that the president gave out, at some point, a certain president gave out truckloads of rice, and we had a governor pack these loads of rice in somewhere until they expired, caked, and nobody could use them again. And people are hungry. I used to talk about the Priya Lamesia, who bought a 430,000 pounds wristwatch. Meanwhile, this man sits in his penthouse, in Bayelsa State, and he overlooks the creek, and he sees his king's men, people that share the same blood, lying with him, defecating inside the same water that they used to wash clothes, to cook, and do other things. Is that not wickedness?
It's wickedness. It's wickedness. Wickedness at the highest level. Oh, well, let's go into another story now. Now, this is a tragic one, a tragic development. At least we hear that 2 people died, while several others sustained injuries following a firework explosion at a community Christmas carnival in Umuchu, Aguata, local government area of Anambra State. Now, the incident happened on Monday, December 29, when a high-intensity firework, popularly known as knockout, the local ones, banga, knockout, detonated unexpectedly near the main stage of an event, sparking panic among the people there. Well, eyewitnesses said the explosion happened at the height of the celebration, sending people scrambling for safety. Of course, they probably thought it was gunshots. Now, one of the victims, identified only as Ugochi reportedly died on the spot, while another was rushed to a nearby hospital where she later succumbed to the injuries sustained. But residents fear the death toll could rise as several of the injured sustained serious burns and deep cuts, while video clips circulated and crowds fleeing the venue, while injured persons were seen being rushed away for medical attention. And among the victims was a teenage girl, estimated to be about 14 years old, who reportedly suffered severe injuries to the neck. Residents further disclosed that children were among those most affected, with some sustaining burns to the face and other parts of the body. So this will lead to some permanent deformity in some of these people that have been affected if they don't have money for, better treatment. But the fireworks reportedly used at the event were packed in cartons and capable of multiple explosive rounds, worsening the impact of the blast. I can't imagine what that must have been like. Unfortunate event, I must say. I think the organizers of this event will be held responsible for, because, I understand if it was detonated in error, unintended detonation, and then the fact that they were packed together, it's possible that, one goes off and then triggers the rest, and then you have multiple explosion like that. But these things usually are kept far away from where people are, So when they go off, it's you get to watch the explosion in the skies. You see the beauty of it in the skies, not close to where people are. That's where I think the organizers really should be held responsible, because I know that a lot of event planners, churches, like today now, a lot of churches will have fireworks, like proper fireworks, not knockout or banger. We'll have them far away, kilometers away from where people are. So this was negligence on the part of the organizers, and they should be made to pay for this. They should be made to pay.
Yes, they should be made to pay. There should be consequences, because the last time I checked, the Nigerian police force still announces that, look, there is a ban on the use of fireworks, whether during Yuletide, any other festive period. There's still a ban on that. And I recall I had a friend, an elderly friend, who got blinded one eye, by a knockout. You know what happened? Someone threw it, and he waited for a while. The thing didn't explode. So he went to pick it up to throw back. And at that point that he bent to, the thing exploded, and he lost one eye, permanent up until this day. So, and I urge parents that buy these things. I understand that this one probably was organized by the organizers of the event. They should be made responsible. They should take responsibility for what happened. Parents, please ensure, don't buy bangers and knockouts for your children. It's very
I don't know the joy in boom, bow, boom.
Everywhere.
I don't know the joy in
somehow, some people, some very mischievous children, if you have an opening in your door,
they throw it
under and the thing explodes inside. If there is somebody that is hypertensive, it could cause, some kind of problem for that person. Parents should restrain their children from using bangers. The police force, has placed a permanent ban on the use of,
especially at this time. At this time where you have bombs going off.
People could mistake it. That could have been what triggered the panic. And there could have been a stampede. More people could have died in the process and all of that. We should be more measured. We should be more circumspect, and respect the sensibilities of other people within our environment.
All right, we'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll delve right into the conversation of the day. And like I did say, we'll be looking at major events that happened in Nigeria and maybe some other parts of the world where, charity, they say, begins at home. So we'll start from home. And in the year 2025, as we wrap up 2025. Well, unfortunately, those are the pictures you saw, pictures of some individuals that we lost in the year 2025. And, well, we can only pray that their souls find rest. Oh, well, let's get into the conversation. Looking at the year in retrospect now. Now, every year often comes with its unique events and challenges. Now, the outgoing year, 2025 in Nigeria, was no less eventful. It was largely shaped by a confluence of ongoing economic reforms, major political repositioning ahead of the next election cycle, and continuous security challenges. Now, let's take a brief analysis of some of the major events that shaped the year 2025. And this is as we coast into the year 2026. 2025, as we got into 2025, we were greeted by the tragic news of the demise of Afenifere leader and co-founder Pa Ayo Adebanjo. He died at his Lekki, Lagos residence on February 14, 2025, at the age of 96. Now, Pa Ayo Adebanjo was one of Nigeria's foremost federalists, a pro-democracy activist, and a social justice campaigner. He played leading roles in Afenifere, the National Democratic Coalition, and the Obedient Movement as well. Now, both Afenifere and the coalition were founded in the presidential election. And after his death, a heartwarming video surfaced online showing him predicting how news of his passing will be announced. So basically, we just might need to remind you of that video. So let's have that video come up again.
Yeah, repeat yourself. Controversial man. Yes. What did you say? That one day they will announce? Daddy, have you seen that? You just said this. Repeat it.
The controversial man is gone. He died at the age of 90 something. He spoke now to his daughter.
His baby, the doctor.
All right, there you have it. Yes, he did say. Well, this is how they will announce it. Pa Adebanjo, the controversial man, is gone at 90-something. I think he died at 92, if I'm not mistaken. Well, 3 days after the death of Pa Ayo Adebanjo, Nigeria was again thrown into mourning by the passing of Chief Edwin Clark, a prominent Nigerian Ijaw leader, elder statesman, lawyer, and politician known for his fearless advocacy for the Niger Delta rights and resource control and true federalism. He served as Federal Commissioner of Information under General Gowon and as a key advisor to President Goodluck Jonathan, leaving a legacy as a nationalist and tireless voice for justice and equity until his death in February 2025. So February took two major people. Now, less than 3 weeks later, the nation was thrown into mourning again after the tragic announcement of the demise of Sardoyin Okupe, a former presidential aide and medical doctor who succumbed to death after battling cancer. Well, as a medical doctor, the former chieftain of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, worked as a health practitioner before venturing into politics. Well, in 2012, former President Goodluck Jonathan appointed him as a senior special assistant on public affairs. He worked as the Director General of the Labour Party presidential campaign for the 2023 election. He was instrumental to Labour Party's campaign in that poll, but dumped the party owing to what he described as ideological differences. Now, fast forward to March. All right, fast forward to March.
Yes, in the month of March, exactly on the 18th day of March, we were greeted by the imposition of an emergency rule on Rivers State by President Bola Tinubu, who also suspended the governor, Sim Fubara, his deputy Ngozi Ozu, and all lawmakers in the state parliament for 6 months. President Tinubu claimed that the political crisis in the state had left Rivers at a standstill, adding that the measure was based on the need to restore peace and order to the state. He further handed over the affairs of the state to Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, retired as sole administrator, to take charge of the state for 6 months. A local government election was conducted during the emergency rule, with All Progressives Congress (APC) emerging victorious in 20 out of 23 local government areas of the state. Now, let's take a brief listen to the video where the president announced the state of emergency.
The provision of the Section 305 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, to declare a state of emergency in Rivers State with effect from today, 18th March, year 2025, and I so do. By this declaration, the Governor of Rivers State, Mr. Similaye Fubara, his deputy, Mrs. Ngozi Odu, and all elected members of the House of Assembly state are hereby suspended for an initial period of 6 months. In the meantime, I hereby nominate Vice Admiral Ibok Ibas, retired, as administrator to take charge of the affairs of the state in the interest of the good people of Rivers State. For the avoidance of doubt, this declaration does not affect the judicial arm of Rivers State, which shall continue to function in accordance with their constitutional mandate. The administrator will not make any new laws. He will, however, be free to formulate regulations and may be found necessary to do his job, but such regulations will need to be considered and approved by the Federal Executive Council and promoted.
There you have it, the declaration of state of emergency. And, we're still talking about Rivers State, and, there's a new conversation going on in Rivers State. But let's start off with, Barrister, Nigeria lost some great men at the beginning of 2025, and then, this as well. What would you, I know you probably reacted to the death of Pa Adebanjo at some point, but let's talk about his impact first, and then we'll talk about the declaration of the state of emergency, and if that truly achieved the purpose.
You, Barrister Darlington.
I thought you were too here.
And I just said Barrister Darlington.
Okay. Now, the only regret I have about Pa Adebanjo is that he did not bless me until he died. I wanted to meet him to receive his blessings because I saw him as a mentor. I saw him as a man who stood for what is right. I saw him as a man who would have helped to shaping the politics of Nigeria. In fact, I wanted God to bring down his age so that he can live longer and help pioneer what was coming. Unfortunately, when he died, there was no Pa Adebanjo to continue. You saw what happened. The person who retired now came back after somebody visited him, and Afenifere is no longer what it used to be because Pa Adebanjo is no longer there. Of course, the rest is history. That is my regret about the man. I pray that somebody like him will come up to uphold justice, to uphold what is right. Because look at it, he's indicted. Is that Afenifere representing what they were supposed to represent? The answer is no. They are being teleguided. From what Pa Faturati is saying, Afenifere is being teleguided. The records are there. And which was what Pa Adebanjo rejected. So that is my regret about him. Then on Rivers, I don't need even to dwell on because we talked about this matter when it happened. The mere fact that the president opened his mouth and said that an elected governor has been suspended from office is an aberration on his own. Because this.
The courts have affirmed it.
Sorry?
The courts have affirmed it.
Hold on. Leave what the court have said. The spirit and letter of section 305 was not even followed. It was not followed because there are precedents for you to declare state of emergency in any situation. Please, my brothers and sisters, everybody listening to us now, was there any situation in Rivers State that warranted the state of emergency? Please tell me. If not for selfish reason, was there any situation? Meanwhile, look at what is going on in the north. Do you know that if a state of emergency had been declared in the north, Donald Trump wouldn't have come in? True or false? It is a shame on all those people support, especially lawyers. Lawyers who supported that thing. All the provisions for you to declare state of emergency was never followed. It was never followed. And yet, for your own selfish interest, you declare state of emergency. The 27 lawmakers that defected, all of a sudden, section 109 on that particular defection was jettisoned. Nobody, up to today, nobody have entered into them. Nobody entertained it. Lawmakers that defected before our very eyes, with all the letter they wrote, their leader read it and all of us saw it. Nobody entertained that particular matter. So, defection now, nobody knows where it is heading. Then the provisions in section 109 have been rubbished.
So where has that left us going forward?
Where are you going forward? It has messed up of our constitution and our judiciary. That is the truth.
Exactly. No, what Moses is asking, does it look like... Barrister, are we beyond redemption?
Where are you? You don't know. In fact, we have crossed the Rubicon here. You know, when you cross the Rubicon, it is beyond the redemption. Because we thought that there could be amendments that if we make mistake, there's nothing wrong in correcting it. Okay. But from one infamy to the other, unfortunately, legal minds are supporting this infamy. I regret the death of Oputa and Kayode Esho and others. They should have been here to correct all this nonsense.
We have another legal mind here, so let's bring him into this conversation.
It's a pity, seriously.
And have his own perspective. Barrister, well, we've been joined here also by Barrister Adam Data. He's a legal practitioner, but he's here in the capacity of a public affairs analyst. Good morning, and thanks for joining us.
Yes, good morning.
Now, before we talk about the Rivers State emergency rule, I would like for us to discuss briefly, the passage of Pa Ayo Adebanjo, pan-Nigerianist by all ramifications, acclaimed by everybody. We had people like him also in the First Republic that we can reference, people like Nnamdi Azikiwe, Obafemi Awolowo, Ahmadu Bello, Tafawa Balewa. Now we have a problem. Now we are looking for where are the likes of these people, and we can't find them. Now, who takes responsibility, for the shortage of pan-Nigerianists? Does it look like the founding fathers did not tutor, their proteges? At what point did we lose it that everybody is now, we have centripetal forces. Instead of putting together, we see people trying to push, pull this side. Everybody wants to be in his own cocoon, his own enclave. Who takes that responsibility for that lack of, successive leadership that we could describe as pan-Nigerianists?
Well, if you talk about succession planning, it borders on you and I. We need to step up. It's a collective responsibility. Okay. It's not a one-way traffic. Somebody is late, somebody came in, stood firm, and then he put all his best. Death is inevitable. We can't dispute that. May his soul rest in perfect peace. But you see that this is the same way we lost Chief Gani Fawebi up till date. There is no replica. There is no replacement. All other people you see around him, they are just after their pockets.
Who should be blamed for the fact that we don't have people stepping into the shoes of these great men?
You and I. I would say you and I, because you cannot put the burden on anybody, because it's now left for you and I to step in.
Exactly my question, Barrister. Does it look like they didn't tutor people below them, their proteges, you know.
People around them, all they did, you can't say they did it all alone. So it's now left for those people to key.
Or those around them that probably admire them at some point, decided, were swayed at some point. Because I know, I used to have an uncle, well, I used to because he's late now. He was very pious. And then he worked in the ministry and he avoided bribery and the rest of those things. He was driving his 504, and then in his old age, his son walked up to him one day and said, look at you. You're living in a place where, you begged somebody to put a roof over your head when your mates were buying plots in Lekki, when Lekki was bush, swamp. You did not, because you were saying you don't want to collect bribe. So is it that the younger people feel, look, there's no point being pious. There's no point fighting for justice. Let's just get what we can and survive. Yeah. Is that what has affected us? What has brought us to this point where we don't have people following great men like
people
that?
Are there. It's a system that is bad.
So it's the system.
The system is corrupt.
So it's not you and I.
The system is corrupt. But there, you and I are still part and parcel of the system. You are part and parcel of the system, because whether we like it or not, I always say it and I will continue to say it, it's a collective responsibility. It's not a one-way traffic something. Those people who have gone, their legacy will continue to linger for long. But the burden now is on you and I. Are we going to continue to call on these people who are late? Are we going to continue to summon Gani Fawemi from his grave and power? No, it's not possible. So we need to wake up and take up responsibility.
All right then. Well, a few other things happened between January and March. So let's just look at a few of those other things that happened between January and March, and then we'll get to, we're being joined by, I beg your pardon?
I want to bring back one of these parts.
No way. We're being joined by Comrade Roy Oriabo and Mr. Egwatu. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. I'll come to you shortly. Now, let's go back to January now. January, on the 18th of January, actually, there was a major fuel tanker explosion in Suleja, Niger State. Now, that one killed about 100 people, with residents injured, people burned to death. Now, we've had more tanker explosions after that, and we didn't seem to have learned anything from all the tanker explosions. Now, go back now, rewind to February. Remember the book launch, A Journey in Service. Babangida's book, A Journey in Service. That was launched. And then, there was a talk around what happened during June 12 and the rest. All of that happened. And then, of course, March, the declaration of state of emergency. And also, another very important thing that happened in March was the violent mob incident in Edo State that saw 16 northern travelers killed, under the allegation of being members of a kidnapping gang. Oh well, Comrade Roy Oriabo. Let me start off with Egwatu, because I think he joined, some minutes back, just before Roy Oriabo. So Egwatu, good morning to you, Mr. Egwatu. Good morning to you. Welcome to the conversation. What have we learned from these incidents? And we're trying to create, a pathway going forward. Let's talk about these incidents again. We're going back in time now. Memory lane.
Hello, what did you say?
Well, you seem to have a difficulty hearing me. So we're talking about it's the year in focus, 2025, events that happened January, February, March, and talking about Edo State, 16 people that were alleged to be kidnappers traveling that were killed, and the events that followed, all of that. And what have we learned from these events? And also the book released by General Babangida, A Journey in Service. That's the title of that book, A Journey in Service. Just, x-raying your thoughts on all of this, going back memory lane.
I think what we need to learn, and what we have learned from all of this, is that there is a need for we, the younger Nigerians, to begin to step up more into every matter that concerns our country, our nation, and make positive contributions to make sure that we don't destroy the nation, to make sure that Nigeria doesn't go down. Thank God for Donald Trump, the president of America, who has tried to instill some high level of commitment from the federal government on the insecurity matter. But looking at the Supreme Court, I don't think people are really understanding the Supreme Court judgment on that emergency rule. I don't think people are really understanding it. I think our
What's your
lawyers need
understanding
to
of
read it and educate us more on that judgment, because I do not think the Supreme Court expressly approved the particular act of state of emergency in Rivers. I do
Supreme
not
Court
think
basically said the president has a right to suspend a governor in a state of emergency.
No, the Supreme Court did not say that.
With valid conditions. Valid.
With
Yes,
valid
the Supreme
conditions.
Court did not say the president has a right. The Supreme Court, in fact, if we go by what the Supreme Court has said, it means that the National Assembly failed in their responsibility to follow the Constitution and their order in their proclamation, which means if you put it on scale, it means that emergency rule is null and void. If we look at what the National Assembly should have done, the Supreme Court was clear, even though it was a discussion, not a judgment, because they said they don't have jurisdiction, because it was the Rivers State government that was coming to court. So people are not really understanding the
Honorable Ejiofor, I want us to isolate, to take Rivers State out of this. In the judgment, the Supreme Court said that the president has a right to declare a state of emergency in any state if it feels that at some point there could be a total breakdown, or that there is a total breakdown of law and order in that state. I want us to take Tinubu out of it. What decision did the Supreme Court give on the declaration of a state of emergency?
There is no dispute. There is no dispute as to whether the president can declare a state of emergency in any part of Nigeria. It is not in dispute.
Okay.
It is not in dispute.
So why do you disagree with the Supreme Court judgment on Rivers State?
What the Supreme Court did on Rivers State is not I don't know, people are not interpreting it well.
No, we want your own interpretation.
I'm not a lawyer, but I understand from what they have said that the National Assembly did not follow the correct process of validating that state of emergency. And then it made it clear also that the president can declare state of emergency, but the Constitution did not state it expressly that he can suspend, even though it was silent on the extent of consideration of the president, but it was not expressly declared. So it is not. It's not right for me. It is not right for anybody to say the Supreme Court affirmed that declaration. But be that as it may, we are thankful to the American president for.
All right, then, Doctor. Thank you very much, Honorable Ejiofor Egbuatu. We'll come back to it in the course of the show. Barrister Atta, you know you are a lawyer too, but just one moment, I'll come back to you so that you have your own take on the Supreme Court declaration or judgment on declaration of state of emergency.
All right.
We have a guest there in Benin City, so let's just bring him into the conversation. Good morning to you, Comrade Roy Oriabo, once again. And now I'm sure that you have followed the conversation. I would like for you to, quick ones here and there, the reaction to the issues that we are talking about now, 2025 in retrospect, the deaths that we had, Edwin Clark and Adebanyo, declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State, and a few others that we've talked about. Yeah, broad reaction to these issues briefly.
Yeah, good morning. Basically, some of these issues that happen. Personally, one of my own feelings, I think
those very few persons. Books they and we are not supposed to take it serious. We'll go to the issue of Rivers State. Whether we like it or not, state of emergency was declared in Rivers State. At least in that period of 6 months, there was relative peace in Rivers.
Okay.
We were told if the emergency was not declared in Rivers State, the man Kofu Barada would have not been the governor. Could have been on the streets now as an ordinary person like Yossi Seli. Therefore, he embraced when he was called back at the 6 months. He endorsed it. He showered encomium on the president for taking such decisive position. To me, that's a good one. I cannot be more Catholic than the Pope.
Okay, let's come back to your domain now, Edo State. There was something that happened in March. The 16 travelers that were said to be mistaken for kidnappers and killed. The way the governor handled it, he went to the north, he went to apologize, and then the vigilantes were arrested. How has that affected the fight against insurgency, insecurity in Edo State? Are people motivated? The actions of the governor, and everything. Did it further motivate people to protect the state?
When the incident happened, some of us will condemn the action. Extrajudicial killing is not, nobody will accept that. You cannot violate the right of a fellow citizen and you expect to celebrate it. You cannot go and take a life and you expect people to endorse it for you. We were happy that those things, the way Amana, the governor, went over, he reached out to the family, reached out to the state, he reached out to the people, just to pacify them so that there would not be a reprisal attack on it. That was a way forward, that was a good one. But if you take it to the next level in terms of how it makes the people to be more thorough, especially those within the security arrangement and those that you cannot just act on a mere suspicion, that you must have proof. That reawaken their spirit and that further boosts their mind that they have to be detailed and thorough in the job they are doing. And that have helped us. In those states now, the issue of court crashes have drastically reduced. In this time, in any part in the year, what happened in Edo will always be in the news as a result of court killing. I think that the governor have able to use his approach to address that. We are ready to be at peace now. And those issues that happened, there was one, I think that brought the awareness that we need to have regard for human life. We need to place value on human life. Therefore, it helps us in Edo State. One, the orientation become very high because of the publicity that was given and the condemnation that also followed those the killing there. Therefore, an average Edo man became very conscious. Those within the security network also became very conscious that you don't just have the right to take the life of a fellow human being. That was what happened. And by and large, he helped us from this stand. He helped us in Edo State, and he reshaping all our thinking and orientation.
All right then, Barrister Darlington, let's get your concluding thoughts because we have to let you go, unfortunately. We would have loved to have you all through the conversation, but you have something to attend to. So let's have your concluding thoughts on it.
My concluding thought is that the year 2025, I can caption it the year of infamy, the year of locusts in Nigeria. Because from January to this December that is about to end, Nigerians never had it good. In fact, we never experienced governance. From the judiciary to the legislature to the executive, we never see any dividend of democracy. Judgment was cash and carry. Parliament was on holiday. the executive was acting with rascality, especially what? Physical responsibility was never adhered in Nigeria. That is why you are now just behave as if nothing happened. And they want to collect tax from you. By same this other country that they don't pay tax in their country, are they not petroleum exporting countries? Tell me, Saudi Arabia, in Dubai here, they don't pay for electricity and water. They only pay for their rent. I have people who are there who have told me the story. Please, these things that are happening over there, can't it happen in Nigeria? Then the money you say you don't have, you stole the 210 trillion out of that money. And you are telling me that you don't have money, you need the tax.
Barrister, in 10 years. In 10 years.
In 10 what?
10 years.
In 10 years. Within that year, the fact that one is missing. It's missing. Plus other ones. So, Mr. Okoro, from the same agency that we are looking for our money, the federal government wrote away 8 trillion naira debt that they could not account for. Please let me go to where I'm going. I'm
Thank
done.
you very much,
I'm
Barrister
done.
Darlington.
I'm done. This is
Thank you
not
very
a
much for your
country. Seriously,
contribution.
it's
We'll
not
take a
country.
break now. When we
Not a
come
country.
back, we'll continue from the month of April and see how far we can go to the year 2025. We'll be back after this break.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. We are still having a retrospect of 2025, what happened between the months of January and December. But before we get into the month of April, Barrister Adams Atta, I would like for you to, share with us your perspective on the Supreme Court judgment that said, look, this is what went down in Rivers State, capture it holistically.
Whether we like it or not, the Supreme Court have failed. The Supreme Court have failed. They are not proactive. And that is why you see that the judgment is coming after the cause of action. The cause of action is no longer there. So on what basis are you now coming out to give judgment thereafter, after the 6 months of the extension? So for me, I think that the judiciary that is supposed to be the last hope of the common man, they are shying away from their responsibility, pursuant to Section 6 of the 1999 Constitution. You see the interpretation of the Supreme Court of Section 305. You agree with me that the Supreme Court did not, by all standards, interpreted that section in line with the intention of the maker of that Constitution. Okay. And that's why you see that we're having different pockets and then different interpretation of that Section 305. Some people will interpret it in such a way that it will give the president enormous power to suspend an elected governor. And that is not the intention of the Constitution. So you saw what played out in Rivers State. Whether we like it or not, politics is there.
Now, do you think that there's a way the Supreme Court will have delivered a judgment that will have received some kind of united opinion about Nigerians? Oh, what the Supreme Court did is right, and will not have dissenting voices.
Yes, over the years, we have seen it, and the Supreme Court is not waking up to take up their responsibility, because the Supreme Court is the last court on earth. Appeal from the Supreme Court goes to heaven on earth, goes to heaven. No any other court to appeal to. So you must stand up and wake up to responsibility. You don't just shy away.
Okay, so basically you are disappointed with the Supreme Court judgment?
Yes, I'm not in agreement with the interpretation of the Supreme Court.
All right, let's move on. In the month of April, a political tsunami swept through the landscape of Delta State when the entire political structure of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, dissolved into the All Progressives Congress, APC. Well, Governor Sheriff Oborowe led the immediate past governor, Ifeanyi Ato Okowa, all political appointees, all elected public office holders, and all party executives in a mass defection to the APC. Speaking afterwards, former Governor Okowa said the move was necessary to enable Delta State to better connect with the federal government and benefit from the resources and goodwill available in Abuja. He described the decision as bold, strategic, patriotic, and well-intentioned.
All right then, and moving away from April there, well, a few other things happened in April. And, well, in April, there was also the attacks by armed groups and clashes with security forces, which continued across parts of the northern and central Nigeria, including gunmen raids and, roadside bomb blasts reported in various states, underscoring ongoing insecurity in parts of Nigeria. In May, however, Nigeria reportedly completed the payment of a $3.4 billion loan borrowed from the International Monetary Fund, IMF, during the COVID-19 pandemic, effectively exiting the debtor list of the multilateral bank. Now, data sourced from the website of the Washington-based lender shows Africa's most populous nation had paid off its debts after the country was omitted from the listed debtors. The federal government had sought emergency assistance from the IMF in April 2020 in the wake of the COVID-19 to shore up the country's economy and help businesses weather the storm of the deadly pandemic. Now, however, if you look at the human angle of things, in May also, there was heavy flooding in Mokwa, Niger State, which submerged homes and infrastructure and caused serious death to a large number of people. And also a lot of people were reported missing after that flood in Mokwa. This of course, highlights climate-linked disaster and the rest. Questions, what has been done to, to ensure that there is no repeat of such things? Oh well. Let's go to the month of June now.
Well, in the month of June, more than 150 people were killed and thousands displaced after floods devastated parts of rural town in Niger State.
Oh, that's the Mokwa.
That's the Mokwa that you talked about. And at least 3,018 people were displaced, while 265 houses were completely destroyed in the floods, according to the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA. Well, this included over 1,600 children under the age of 12 and about 380 lactating mothers, according to UNICEF. The flood affected key roads and bridges, disrupting transport and economic activities. And in the same June, a brutal and unprovoked attack shattered the early morning peace in the villagers in the Goma local government area of Benue State. Armed assailants descended upon the rural community of Yelawata in the early hours. The rampaging mob set houses on fire, killing hundreds of people, transforming lives with bullets and arson, leaving a trail of destruction and unimaginable loss. As at last count, we understand that more than 600,000 people in Benue State are living inside Benue State as internally displaced people in IDP camps. Well, eyewitnesses described this sense of horror and chaos as families scrambled for safety. Up to 200 unarmed Nigerians, I beg your pardon, were gruesomely murdered in that attack.
Oh, yes, and then also in June, there was the posthumous presidential pardon of the Ogoni 9, which generated criticism from human rights groups that argue full exoneration was needed rather than pardon. Well, these conversations, these 3 months, April to June, what are your thoughts on this one? Let's start off with you, Barrister.
A lot happened from April,
Yes.
May, June, but we thank God. But my point is that the government have failed woefully in their responsibility pursuant to Section 14 of the 1999 Constitution. It's clear the welfareism of Nigerians shall be the primary responsibility of the government. And then we're experiencing pockets of flooding all over the Federation, and we can't even step up as a government. Then what are you there for? What is the essence of having that government? And then you are forcing people to pay tax. On what basis? I pay tax, is a contract. And then in reciprocal, you give me my basic amenities. But the government is not forthcoming. They are not doing anything. Look at what is happening in the Western world, where they experience different kind of, Hurricane Tropicana and several. And then you see how the government will respond so swift, and then they respond speedily. But the reverse is the case. What is it that we have done that the government will abandon their country, Nigerians? I literally do not agree. Is it that our leaders are monkeys that will not listen? It's not done. And that's why we are saying that the government should wake up and then take up responsibility. People cannot continue in their own country where they are paying tax. They cannot continue to plead with the government to do the needful. Is it our politicians who expect us to come, our leaders who expect us to come and bow before them and then start crying and then lullaby them for them to do the needful? It's not done. And that is why we are saying that the youths, they need to wake up.
Wake up and do what?
Wake up and do what? Wake up and take up the responsibility and rescue power from these old and archaic leaders we have now, right now.
Some youths tried to protest the other time. They were accused of wanting to topple
It's
the
beyond
government.
protest. We have the arsenal in our hand as I'm speaking to you, which is the social media fora.
Okay.
Awareness is more than even protest. It's just that the government is equally smart. You saw what happened during the NSAS saga thereabouts. The youths, they were posting the ugly incident on social media, and then at a point, you see that most of the pictures now became blur. That is government handwork.
Exactly.
As you are fighting, the government is fighting
now.
back. Let me borrow the words of our former president, the immediate president, Muhammadu Buhari, late, may so rest in peace, thereabout. He said, if we don't keep corruption, corruption is going to kill us. Okay. So it's the same thing. The government, they have been so recalcitrant, they are so stubborn, they are not giving up soon. But freedom is not given voluntarily. You must stay firm.
Yes,
you must fight for it.
Adams, talking about taking it voluntarily, not taking it voluntarily or otherwise. Moses said something, and he said, what do you want the youth to do? And you talked about, not a revolution, by the way, but social media.
Yes.
And you referenced NSAS. What happened in NSAS? Scores of Nigerian youths were killed, and up until this moment, we are still going back and forth, living in denial. So what else should the Nigerian youth do? Roll into the streets so that they could be killed more and more. And
that is why I say let us resort back to social media fora.
Okay.
Because you see that a lot of distraction on social media, instead of us to use the social media forum as a drive, as a tool to get results, politics-wise, awareness-wise. But the youth are there posting all series of distraction and everything. So my point is setting. My point is setting.
Take advantage
of the social media. Yes, because it's the best all over the world.
To wrought change in society.
Yes, that is the best. That's where because
now,
we have
there's
tried
something
it
that you
by
said
force.
that I would like for us to interrogate briefly. You said that, look, the core mandate of the government is to protect lives and property of people and their welfare.
Yes.
I'd like for us to link that with the fundamental objectives and directive principles of state policy regarding the justiciability and actionability of
And
all
the
of
enforcement.
And
You
enforcement.
see that even the
So-
constitution itself,
so that is the
even
problem.
The
How do
constitution
we-
itself is faulty. Because the constitution says that you cannot enforce.
Yes, because if my
enforce
child doesn't
them.
go to school,
But
I
you
cannot sue the
yes,
state
you cannot
for
sue
not
the
taking
state.
him to
So
school.
you see, that is where we need to go back to the drawing board and even amend the constitution That is why these people are taking the system for granted. It's contracts. It's just like how you go and then you enter into contracts with a third party. And then where there is any breach of that contract, any of the party can sue. There is a right that inure for each of the parties, whether we like it or not. So the social contract theory is a pure contract. People came together, submit to government, pay tax, and then the reciprocal. The tax you are paying is a consideration. There's an offer, there's an acceptance, there's a consideration. So all the basic ingredients of contracts, they are there. But the government is not ready to wake up and then take up responsibility because of the fact that after God in heaven and his cabinet, the next person on earth is the government. Nobody to hold them responsible. It's just like a policeman.
So when you say nobody can hold them responsible, what then do you want
that is
the youth that you're
to take over power. When you take over power and then you correct this system.
Okay. Let's go to Comrade Roy Oriabo. I'm sure he has a few things to add to the months that we've reeled out and the conversation we're having. Comrade Roy, your microphone is on. Go ahead. Let's hear from you.
I think the issue about Nigeria, as I said, Nigeria is an unusual place.
Yes, we said that before. We know.
Yeah, we must begin to interrogate Nigeria as the way our manner is being structured today. When I hear people, we are not talking about government, we're talking against judiciary. What theory of democracy was formulated? Those who sat down, the early Greek who believed that let us have a system of government that we yield as are there, they found that no one man can be trusted with power. That is why when you have democracy, under democracy, you look at the subordinate, you have the legislators, you have the executive. They are all there working together. One man not supposed to be there so strong. In Nigeria democracy, now what kind of democracy are we practicing in Nigeria? Can the legislator look into the face of the executive? Can they take a stand? The answer is no. Can the judiciary look at the legislator and say, let's take a stand? The answer is no. Therefore, we must, as a country, and I continue to say, we must go back to rediscover ourselves. Because as today, it was one of our class, one American sociologist who told us that it is immoral to be moral in an immoral society. Society that will be devil with corruption. Therefore, we don't have value for our life. We don't have values again. When a system like that throw up a leadership, what will you get? And that's the reason why when it talks about social media, using social media as a platform, I've seen social media as a parboiled mechanism to push a perspective. Because when you are in social media, cannot do it, because what happens in social media is not as a reality of what is on ground. And that is why Nigeria will not get it right, depending solely on social media. What we need, as I say, is national rebate. All of us must submit ourselves for critical evaluation so that we will undergo purification, if possible. With the kind of mindset all of us have in this country, it is because you are not there. Those who are not there are the ones who are complaining. Once they get there, they do something different. You recall in this country when the subsidy was about to be removed by the former president. By January, you see how everybody mobilized. Those who mobilized on the street that time, they were with us on the street. They are not in government. There is a policy that will be starting from tomorrow, the tax policy. Can we not go to the street to demonstrate? The answer is no. If we get there, we will be overwhelmed with the power that be. What does that show to you? It is no longer about those in government. It's about we Nigerians. How reliable are we? What kind of orientation are we giving to our children? We must go to the basics, because when I hear people talk, it appears it's only the government that is an issue. It is not only the government. Let me give you a scenario. A few days ago, my generator had issue, and I was going to fix the generator. The repairer, he told me the particular path I had to go, but I drove him to the place. When we get there, he was negotiating with the man. I did not to be aware. And the man, I said he's building on it. He built on it, and I saw it. I said that is in Nigeria and all of us. Imagine he will I let to go and be our leader. And every Nigeria is looking for shortcut, and we are dwelling in that because we believe it is the government that will not come and straighten us. It is we that will take decision for ourselves. We must take decisions Nigeria want to. It's not about leadership. There is no where you will pick somebody now. All of us in the studio now, if you pick any of us now to go and be in government, when we get there, we will be singing the hallelujah of the government. We will forget where we are coming. Your mind back. Look at those who have been in power. We just talked about the former president, Buhari. Go and check the money that was looted under Buhari's government. Go and check the history. Go and look at the records. You will know that it's no longer about, we were told Buhari is an enemy of corruption. He's going to use all his network and power to fight corruption. But not that now, with the revelation we are seeing, he presided over a country that is even more corrupt in the history of the world. In terms of the looting that happened under his regime and administration, what does that show to you? It's that it's no longer about individual. It's no longer about because you are in position. It is the mindset of all of us in this country. All of us need to take a decision. If we want Nigeria to work, let it work. If we say Nigeria will not work, that is where we are now. It's no longer about leadership. Because you don't ask me, where are you going to go in this country now that you see people are providing leadership? Can you go to the religious institution now? Can you go to the mosque? Can you go to the church and see responsibility, and see commitment, and see transparency, and see... Can you go to the traditional institution now and get transition? The answer is no. Where are you going to go to? The studio we found ourselves. If you are looking, if we are to search for transparency and accountability in this studio, it will be a miracle. These are the issues. We must continue to look and tell ourselves in this country what do we really need as a people, what do we want to do for ourselves. Because when we start attacking, we believe it's those in government that will do it. No, it is the leadership that throw up from the follower, you get the leaders. And with the mindset of an average Nigeria, in our time we were growing up, when people are talking about the youth, I'll be laughing. The youth that are in this country, with due respect to the younger generation, with due respect to they are even more dangerous. They are more dangerous. Our fathers have responsibility, and they have value for life. The younger generation does not have value. You saw it, the kind of crime that has been committed in this part of the world. The way the younger generation are in a hurry to make wealth, the way they are in a hurry to make money, the way they are undermining the system. We cannot continue to be calling on those in government, because you cannot expect people who are in government to automatically be a saint when they have been an unbeliever within their system. And that is their mindset, that is their orientation they have had over the years. If you are not in government, will that change your thinking? Will that change your orientation? Nigeria we need to revisit our foundation.
All right.
Instead that we abandon this country because with the way we are going now, either because we are the most black people as we were told, we have not been able to manage ourselves. I went to the village and I saw my people in the village telling me things I know that was wrong. They were trying to make it right. By the time I was arguing with them, they were telling me, you are not behaving as a Nigeria. What is the talking of Nigeria? What is the behavior of Nigeria? Is not to do what is right, not to say the truth again. People want to see you, and anywhere you are making the money, go and make it. They will come and defend you. Nigeria,
you blame anybody really if they now adopt that mindset of let's just make the money anyhow.
Anyhow.
Would you blame anybody? Because they see that when you try to do it the right way, you don't get acknowledged. Now, if you want to steal, in fact, they basically say, if you want to steal big. So that
of course, our naira have no value. Now, therefore, if you have opportunity to steal, you want to steal more so that you plan for your born generation. I listened to when he talked. I think you talked about your uncle, that the son was asking, how come you did not steal? Why did you not steal? No, that is the mindset. Some persons, as we are talking now, a wife and a son and a father, they are behind the bar because of what they looted. You imagine just with that kind of orientation, you are looting money for an unborn generation. We saw in this country, a governor was paying school fees ahead without even being sure whether the person will be alive in that time, because it's opportune to have money that belongs to the state. He's paying school fees ahead to the detriment of the state. That is the society we are building for ourselves, and that is the kind of society that is showing up leadership, and you are expecting them to come and do something otherwise. No sector in this country is immune to corruption. No sector. And that's the reason why when he was talking about judiciary, just I look at it. The judiciary are also part of the government. They work themselves into the government. You cannot be a judicial officer. You are seeing what a man who is in the executive, what he's doing with money. The children in abroad, they are flying private jet, and you are there as a judicial officer. You think you will not want to be tempted and enjoy quality life. You are your resident. You are.
But personally,
there is no light.
Comrade Roy, I will tell you that there are still good people like me in Nigeria. I mean, if we found ourselves in positions of authority,
people like you can host now because they have not been there. By the time we
I tell you, if I get there, you will vote for me, right?
Or a governor.
You will enjoy the dividends of democracy because I will give you what is due.
I will vote for you. I will mobilize for you.
You mobilize. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. but I'm not contested. Comrade Roy, I beg your pardon. Honorable Ejiofor, you have been there. You've tested political money. How tempting is it for one not to do right?
Well, the temptation comes from your people, from your followers. Yes. One of the biggest temptation comes from your followers. Everybody's school fee, you are expected to pay everybody's school fees. People are rating you on the amount of money you give to them. They don't rate you on what you are delivering that is for the general public. People are looking at you from the aspect of what they are getting directly from you. That is the orientation. And then when I hear people say government, I feel that we are not seeing it well because, just like the last speaker said, the government is the followership. The government is the people. The people determine who amongst them becomes the leader. The norms in the society shape the thinking of anybody that is aspiring to be a leader. And so if the society is not shaped well, if the norms, if the values we have are not as strong and not as strong and as perfect as it should be, you can throw up all kinds of people to become leaders. And we don't see ourselves as leaders. A young man at the age of 18 or 19 or 20 or less than 20, between 18 and 20, that is in the street, is a leader to small boys who are 10 and under. But we don't understand that. He decides to bring down his trouser to his legs, his laps. What does he expect the younger ones to do? When they grow up, they will keep the trouser on the ground now or around the knee. That is how it is. So if every point, some of these people who say government, choose your family, whatever, and be a leader there. And you'll be surprised at what people think and how people will begin to see you. So there is a need for us to get involved. It is not social media. Social media is giving a false narrative of stupendous wealth and all the rest of them. So many.
But who is regulating all of that? Because we see the influence.
It's one problem. The Nigerian security system should let us know. There is so much propaganda in the social media, so much falsehood in the social media. So I expect that people should get involved in the politics of their localities, their village, the house of.
All right, we seem to have a network glitch there that's taking away connection from our virtual guest, Honorable Ejiofor Egwatu. We've lost connection to him. We'll probably reconnect with him in the course of time, and then we'll continue this conversation. Now, we'll take a break from 2025 in focus, and then we'll come back to it, start off from July, when we come your way again, you know, the first few days of 2026, God willing. But in the meantime, let's look at, as we approach elections, you know, campaigns and the rest, there are allegations that the federal government is setting up a task force that is targeting opposition, you know. But the federal government is denying the claims, saying that there is no such thing as a task force being set up that is targeting opposition. But let's look at this. Let's x-ray this when we come back from this break. Join us again. Well, the federal government has dismissed allegations of a clandestine multi-agency operation aimed at unlawfully arresting, detaining, or prosecuting opposition politicians. A viral document circulating on social media had alleged the existence of a special task force codenamed ADP4VIP, which basically means, A is for arrest, D, detain, P, prosecute, 4, VIP, very important persons. That's ADP4 VIP. Arrest, detain, prosecute for very important persons. My goodness. Well, purportedly coordinated by the Office of the National Security Advisor, purportedly, and involving anti-graft agencies such as the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. The document claimed the initiative was designed to weaken opposition activity ahead of the 2027 general elections. However, in a press release issued on Tuesday, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, described the claims as fabricated and part of deliberate disinformation. Reaffirming its position, the government stressed that President Bola Tinubu's administration remains focused on economic reforms, tackling insecurity, expanding trade opportunities, and restoring investor confidence. The federal government cautioned against the spread of fake news and disinformation, warning that such tactics were likely to intensify as the 2027 elections draw closer. While citizens were urged to reject the politics of distortion and division, and of course remain vigilant. Oh well, we still have with us Adam Zata Esquire, a legal practitioner, a chartered human resource practitioner as well, and from Oka, Honorable Ejefo Igwatu, former chairman, House Committee on Information, Anambra State House of Assembly. Well, he is a public affairs commentator. And from Benin, Comrade Roy Oriabo, political commentator, member coalition of civil society organizations. And of course, we're looking at this. Well, let me start off with you, Adams Atta Esquire. Looking at the actions of the PD of the APC so far. Malami, we talked about him not too long ago. How, in fact, it was Comrade Roy that mentioned Malami, Abubakar Malami, former AGF, having issues with, well, whether or not he stole, that's on one side. But does this seem like prosecution, seeing that he intends to contest for the governorship in Kebbi State, and he has left the APC for the ADC? He has identified with the ADC now. And if you juxtapose Abubakar Malami's case and trial and the way it is going, denial of bail, son, wife, and the man himself in detention, and Yahya Bello of the APC, who is still attending APC governors, former governors forum and meetings of the APC, joining in campaigns and the rest of them, with over 100 billion, against him, still in court. Does that negate the impression that there might be some sort of prosecution going on somewhere?
Well, let me start by saying, whether we like it or not, whichever political party is a barricade for the government to prosecute you, where there is an allegation against you, the law officers can take...
There's an allegation against you.
There's an allegation. But
yes.
The case is in court.
Yes, but then he's moving around freely.
So whether or not, once the case is in court, you cannot preempt the decision of the court. You have to wait.
We are not preempting the decision of the court. We are saying one person is moving around freely, another is being thrown behind bars, and we can see the party cross-carpeting of this individual and his political affiliation. Doesn't it seem like it is because of his political affiliation that his own case is going, his own trial is going the way it is going? That's what you're saying.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. Let me also remind you that at a point, APC came out openly and said that Once you join APC, all your sins are forgiven.
It wasn't APC that said it. It was Adams.
It's part. It's part of the lead speakers for APC at a point. So it's a figure.
But he has also said he was misunderstood.
Whether we like it or not, a statement of facts portray the intention of the maker, and particularly that the maker of that statement is a figure, is a brand. You recall that Adams Oshomole is part and parcel of the key decision makers that led to this government that we're experiencing right now. He was at a point, himself, Yaya Bello and some others, and El Rufai of today, of then, and then the same El Rufai of today, they stood firm, and then they fought the immediate president, and then insist that some of the policies are targeted at President Bola Ahmed Tinubu candidates and all that. So my point is clear. It's because of the fact that Yaya Bello is still hobnoring and romancing with them in the same table.
Okay, but we also see this administration trying people that are still in the APC, talking about Chris Ndige, talking about Harry Seriki, talking about...
Let me make it clear. Let me say this clearly. Most of those ministers that worked under Buhari's administration, they are not with this government. Go and check. Go and do your findings. They are just there like a shadow members. You know what my understanding about shadow is that you are there, but you just see your shadow, but apparently you're not
exactly working for.
So my point is very clear. Most of the ministers that worked under the immediate president, they are not with Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and that is the Buhari factors. Okay. They have worked with Buhari and all those things. So Malami is of one of such brand, and that is why you see that he's being prosecuted. Let me equally narrow down on whether he's being detained, this and that and that. When the matter was called, his plea was taken. And then he was asked whether guilty or not guilty. And then he pleaded not guilty. And the law is that even though there's a court of appeal decision that says that bail application you can move the court orally at the High Court. But the law is setting that once you are moving bail application, there are key factors like facts. Is it the health condition of the accused person or the defendant you want to bring to the attention of the court before you can seek bail? So the court denied him bail based on the fact that there is no any application before the court for bail. It was just an oral application that was moved in court. And the court said, no, I cannot grant this application because you need to furnish me further particulars, the grounds upon which I will grant bail. It was on that basis. Otherwise, the offenses are available.
On what grounds was Yaya Bello granted bail?
A lot of grounds. One, the offenses are available. The offenses are available. Even Malami's case, the offenses are available. It's just that there is no formal application. The purpose, let's even dig deep to the purpose to which the court will look at before granting bail. One is the fact that whether the defendant or the accused person will avail himself, whether you come to court to attend to your trial.
Whether he'll be a flight risk.
Yes. And then number two is whether the offense is bailable. You need to look at that fact. And then number three is whether you will not be, granting you bail will not affect the proceeding in court, because we have seen where some people have granted bail and then you see them on social media ranting and this granting interview in respect of a matter that is pending in court. And it's against the ethic of the profession for a matter to be in court and then either one of the parties is going on air to make a statement. You are preempting the decision of the court. So it's certain. It's a clear case scenario. So it's not a matter of whether the government is interested in retaining Yaya Bello and then wanting to prosecute, Malami. I have said it and I will continue to say it.
Okay.
Bello is still with them and is enjoying the benefits of being with them. Malami have stepped aside and Ngigi and others.
And he's feeling the pain of
they are front-loading the ADC project. And that is why they are feeling the pain. And then the government is beginning to dig deep. But on the other hand, Malami, who is the chief custodian of our legal system in Nigeria, for him to have been caught up in the web of all these corruption cases is so disheartening and disgusting.
Okay,
it's not worthy of it's not what. And then lastly, this is the same Malami that during his era, if the court grant bail, he will use all his arsenal, all his strength to frustrate the defendant from enjoying the benefit of that bail. Let him stay there.
Say whatever goes around.
Yes, let him stay there and enjoy the dividends of what he did to people.
All right, thank you very much, Barrister. All right, now let's go to Benin City, where we still have Comrade Roy Oriabo. Comrade Roy, now this government has come out and said, look, there is nothing like a task force that we are using to persecute and hound members of the opposition. If you put 1 and 2 together from the examples that we have given, I'm sure you follow this conversation. What's your thought on that? What do you think? Does it look like the government is out somehow hounding people because they are not part of this government, or they are no longer part of this government, or they are very, very intentional in trying to more like, you know, squeeze the opposition? What's your reaction to that? Comrade, I'll need for you to unmute your mic so that we can get your audio feed.
Yes. In party politics, many things are involved. There are shenanigans and gimmicks that are associated with party politics. Therefore, any man who is hoping that he wants to win an election, there are many things he will be doing. But what is fundamental, as far as I'm concerned in this country, is that the politicians who are saying because they are not with the present administration is the reason they are being questioned or being asked some fundamental questions on how they utilize and manage our resources. The issue which we bothered about that when you were there, how did you manage the resources? Whether we like it or not, this process this president is using now, asking the immediate executive, those who were the ministers, to come and give account, is good. Because he's setting, he's giving us a direction that those who are also with him now, after these 4 years, 8 years, the case may be, there will be government who also come and answer questions. And we need to encourage the president to sustain this tempo so that it can become an orientation. Very just now, we saw how powerful was this Malcolm Alami. We were in this country. We know how he utilized the power that was given to him by the president, Buhari. We are aware, the records are there, how he became too strong to the level that he was the head of the cabal in Buhari's government.
Comrade Roy, permit me to butt in at this moment. Now, we understand your position, and the direct question we are asking is, does it appear to you, does it look like this, you know, trying to get our monies back, does it look selective? Because we see people, you know, who should be, as a matter of fact, under lock and key in some places. We see them parade very expensive vehicles. I said one of them bought a G-Guard, you know, with armored vehicles behind him, with state security agencies protecting him, and he was throwing money here and there. And this is somebody that should actually be answering questions about a certain, it's something billion naira belonging to a particular state. And we see this kind of people walk free, yet people that have said, oh, we stay aloof, and they are being hounded. So does it look like it is selective? That's our direct question here.
Yeah, depend on the angle you find yourself and the way you are viewing it from. To some persons, it's selective. To some persons, it's holistic. To a person like me, whichever way you want to take it, life naturally is all about selection. The tie, the suit you are wearing now, that was not your intention yesterday. You get to your wardrobe and you see yourself trying to look at and say, oh, let me just put on this. These are the principles of life. There is no way our agenda will be moving on the same speed. In as much I know there are political dimensions to all this discussion, but what is good, I believe, as a country, we're supposed to operate that neutrality by way, let everybody go on the same level. But politically, it cannot move like that. It doesn't make sense like that. It does not fly. If you ask yourself, we were told that all animals are equal, but some are more equal than the other. That is where we are now.
Okay, so that is what you see happening. That's what you see happening in politics. All animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. Well, let's go to, thank you very much, Comrade Roy. Let's go, come back to you for your concluding thoughts. Let's go to Oka, where we still have Honorable Ejiofor Egbuatu. Honorable Ejiofor, good to have you join us again. Now, the question we are asking very well. Now, does it look like we have a task force, a team that is hounding members of the opposition? Does it appear to you as if there is one? Based on what you see, the political interface.
I wouldn't align with that because the term task force, I do not think such a thing is in existence. But you remember that under Goodluck Ebele Jonathan as president, such allegations were made towards the election too. I think that has become a pattern in the Nigerian elections. Whenever elections are coming close, such allegations will spring up from everywhere. And at the end of the day, after the elections, they just fizzle out. You don't see anything close to that again. So I do not subscribe to that. I don't think there is a task force per se in existence.
Okay, so what you see is this government fighting corruption directly. You think that this government is very intentional in fighting corruption for what you see?
The government should hold people accountable. It should hold people accountable. When we say fight corruption, it looks like naming a movie. People should be held accountable. If there are allegations that are before any institution of government, any investigative institution, any law enforcement agency about anybody, the person should be allowed, given everything, every opportunity to defend himself or herself, and the due course of law should follow. The president, the political angle shouldn't be directly involved.
No, you know, why people are concerned is that we see people close to this government and they are walking free. Let us go to Kano State, where you have the former national chairman of the party. You recall his, you know, what happened when he was as governor in Kano State and all the shenanigans about stuffing dollar in Bariga and all of that. Yet when he came out, he was rewarded with national chairmanship of the party. And after that, I think he's the chairman of one federal government agency, Federal Aviation Authority of Nigeria. These people, I could go on and name them. These people are walking free. Does it look like, I mean, they shouldn't be tried or they shouldn't be held accountable?
They should be held accountable.
So why is the government not doing that? Is it because they are close to the government?
I wouldn't know exactly why, but if there is a considerable push on anybody's matter, the federal government should take it up. If you remember, the current American president passed through so many hurdles like that too. When people analyze it, they say, does it mean that he really committed those things and somehow he found his way to the American presidency seat? No. So these are issues that come up when people are, when people are politically active. All efforts are made to bring them down politically. So if there is any corruption matter, any agency that is responsible can get the person down, look into the matter, and get to the court. The court will take decisions. Even though that we do not trust the court.
All right, that's a good way to. That was the last.
Yes, Nigerians do not see. If I am a driver and I'm driving myself, I can confidently maneuver in any way I like, and nothing. I trust myself. I know that I'm driving well. I'm driving, according to the rules, and But when I am driving people, it becomes a different matter. I need to drive in such a way that these people will have confidence in what I'm doing. They need to have that relaxed and comfortable manner in that car. And that is what the leadership of Nigeria should do to Nigerians. Drive us in such a way that we will become very comfortable with what we are doing, especially the Nigerian judiciary.
All right, Honorable Igwatu, would that be your final words for today?
My final word for today will be that 2025 was a turbulent year for Nigerians. Everything happened. And we are closing the year on a high expectation that 2026 will be far better in any ramification. We pray that God will give us that grace. We ask the government we are all part of the government, so we are telling ourselves that there is need for us, especially the young people, to get involved in every decision making in every aspect of our lives. We need to get involved.
All right, and we need to get involved indeed. Comrade Roy Oriabo, your concluding thoughts as we wrap up the program, as we wrap up 2025.
2025 was a terrible year. Personally, it's a year that I don't want to experience again.
Will not, don't worry. It's gone. It's going.
Therefore, the leadership and the followership system in this country in 2025 was totally collapsed. There's something. Therefore, I hope and I pray that 2026 will be a better year. 2026 just have to be a better year. If we are on the same road, if it is 2026 is like 2025, we are in big problem. I hope and I pray that 2026 will be a better year, and our leaders must take responsibility for their action. Thank you, and God bless you.
God bless you too, Comrade Roy Oriabo. Well, let's bring it back to the studio now. Adams Atta, Esquire, when they said they don't have, Honorable Egwatu said he doesn't have faith in the courts, your jaw dropped. Well, let's have your concluding thoughts.
Well, I want to start by saying that we have faced a lot this 2025, but in wholesome, we thank God for January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and then December 2025. And then we're very optimistic that 2026 is going to be a positive year for every Nigerian. And then for my fellow Nigerians, I want to say that there's no need for panic. 2026 is coming in a bigger fold. More importantly, as for the tax law, don't panic, because once you pay your tax, let me read out about 3 or 4 benefits of payment of tax. One is that once you pay your tax, you are entitled to a loan. Assuming you want to go and get a loan now, look at your tax record before they can give you loan. And then number 2, if you want any grants from governments, it's very easy. Governments will look at your tax record. And then the number third one is the fact that assuming you get involved in 1 or 2 issues in Lagos State, last month we tell you we request for your tax record in Lagos State and some other states. It's going around the federation now. And then number 4 is the fact that once you are involved in any case matter and you want to seek for bail of your person, they will request for your tax record. And at that moment, you may be forced to go and pay for the last 3 to 4 years. So there is a lot of benefits.
A lot of
benefits
in all these things that you have said. I mean, none is speaking to
the responsibility of government.
The responsibility of government.
In reciprocal, I'm here to finish. And then in reciprocal, I'm very optimistic that I'm praying, even though the government have failed, I know that they will meet up.
When it comes to the responsibility of government, you are praying.
The responsibility.
But then when it comes to the individual paying the tax, you are telling us the benefits of paying our taxes. But for government, you are praying and hoping.
It is a constitutional matter. It's a payment of taxes.
Well, the year 2026, of course, will start with the implementation of the Tax Act. So we are Nigerians, basically, we don't seem to have a choice now.
Yes.
Okay. Do we? Or do we not have a choice? Oh, well.
I think we do have a choice.
Oh, well, this is where we drop anchor on VOP this morning. I must say a very big thank you to you gentlemen. Adam Zata, Esquire, legal practitioner, chartered resource practitioner as well. Thank you very much. Honorable Ejiofor Egwatu, it's been a wonderful year having you here every now and then. We must say thank you to you and others. And also, big thanks to Comrade Roy Oriabo. I know a few times we had a few fallout here and there, times when we couldn't take your thoughts on some topics, but you stuck with us anyway. Thank you very much. We appreciate you greatly. Well, this is it on the show, VOP this morning. But we'll be back here very shortly for newspaper review. I am Moses Humphrey. See you in 2026. I'll see you again later, and then I'll see you again in 2026.
And I am Chukwuma Okoro. I'll see you again on top of the hour, 10 o'clock. Bye for now.